For 47 years, Iran has been known as the bully of the Middle East, but they are not the bully any longer. They're on the run.
As Donald Trump boasts that Iran is on the run, is IRGC now delivering a deadly reality check that shows US troops are still very much in Tehran's crosshairs? When the IRGC claims more than 500 American soldiers were hit and hideouts in Dubai were struck, is Iran turning the glittering Gulf hub into the newest battle zone of this war? Why has Dubai, long sold as a safe business haven, suddenly become the center of Iran's revenge narrative against US forces and their partners? And how did Iran manage to reach this deep into America's regional footprint, from secret hideouts to logistic ships and drone depots? Is this Iran's biggest revenge strike of the war so far, or just the opening act in a much deadlier confrontation still to come? As Trump declares that Iran is on the run, the IRGC's latest wave of claimed strikes delivers a brutal reality check on just how contested the region still is. On March 28, IRGC commanders claimed that more than 500 US soldiers were hit in their newest round of operations across the theater. Spokesman Ibrahim Zolfagari alleged that American troops abandoned their regular bases and scrambled into two secret hideouts in Dubai. According to his account, one of those locations was sheltering more than 400 US personnel and the second housed over 100 at the time of the attack. He claimed both sites were then hit by precise missiles and drones launched by IRGC units, turning safe houses into targets. Zolfagari went further, saying ambulances ferried wounded US soldiers and commanders 4 hours after the blasts. Tehran is now warning Trump that the region will turn into a graveyard for American soldiers unless US forces back down.
We had previously warned that the aggressive U.S. Army, due to the powerful offensive of the armed forces and the destruction of its bases in the region, has fled and is hiding outside its bases. Trump and the commanders of the U.S. Army must have clearly understood that the region will turn into a graveyard for American soldiers, and they will have no option but to surrender to the divine will of the heroic people and the brave fighters of Islam.
The same day, the IRGC also claimed it had hit a US logistics vessel near the port of Salalah in Oman, opening another line of pressure at sea. Iran says that ship was directly supporting American military operations across the region and therefore counted as a legitimate target. At the same time, Tehran claimed it had destroyed a Ukraine-linked anti-drone depot in Dubai that was allegedly backing US forces. The IRGC says that facility supported American operations and was housing 21 Ukrainian personnel when its missiles and drones hit. Emirati officials, for their part, reported intercepting 20 ballistic missiles and 37 drones from Iran on March 28, underscoring how intense the barrage was. These claims about strikes in Dubai surfaced just as Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in the UAE for high-stakes talks on security. Zelensky met Mohammed bin Zayed to discuss Iran's ongoing strikes and the economic shock from the Hormuz blockade. He warned that terror must not prevail anywhere and insisted that protection against drones and missiles must be sufficient for every partner. Kiev now says its drone experts are already working with the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan to help counter Iranian threats. Just a day earlier in Saudi Arabia, he had teased a new important defense arrangement with Riyadh, signaling deeper security ties in the Gulf. These claimed attacks on US soldiers come as the Pentagon quietly prepares to surge more Marines into the region. Reports suggest elements of the 82nd Airborne could be earmarked for operations targeting Iran's key Karg Island. Washington is said to be weighing a dramatic move, seizing Karg itself, to force Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Karg handles nearly 90% of Iran's oil exports, making it one of the most strategically valuable pieces of territory in the Gulf. In response, Iran has reportedly laid mines and hardened its defenses around the island to brace for a possible US landing. Yet on March 27, Trump told supporters that Iran is not the bully any longer and is being crushed by overwhelming US power. He went further, boasting that Iran is begging to make a deal and has quietly sent 10 ships of oil as part of back-channel arrangements.
For 47 years, Iran has been known as the bully of the Middle East, but they are not the bully any longer. They're on the run. We're crushing Iran's currently as we speak. I just looked. We had another big day. We hit them. They don't know what's happening. Remember this? They lied about 3 days ago. I said, yeah, we're negotiating with Israel. We are not negotiating. They're being hit so hard, anybody would be negotiating. They are negotiating. They're begging to make a deal. They're begging to make a deal. Turned out I was right. They were negotiating, which they admitted 2 days later. And in order to make up for their misstatement, they said, we're going to send you 8 ships of oil. And the following day I saw, this is 2 days ago, I saw on one of the networks, very strange, there are 8 ships of oil coming out of Iran. And then they actually said, we're going to add an extra 2. And they added an extra 2, so we had 10 ships. And then people realized we were actually negotiating. We're negotiating now, and it'd be great if we could do something, but they have to open it up. They have to open up the Strait of Hormuz.
Earlier, Trump extended his deadline for Iran to reopen Hormuz by 10 more days, pushing it out to April 6th. He says he is pausing the period of energy plant destruction at Tehran's own request while negotiations continue. All this unfolds while Iran flatly denies begging for any deal, and keeps up its strikes from Hormuz to the wider Gulf, daring Washington to match words with reality.
I declare with absolute certainty that there are no negotiations or talks with the American side. However, for a few days now, the American side has started sending various messages through different intermediaries, with messages being delivered through our friendly countries, and we, in response, announce our positions or give the necessary warnings. This is neither called negotiation nor dialogue, nor anything. It is simply an exchange of messages through our friends. We reiterated our principal positions in this exchange of messages and, in some places, issued warnings. Regarding attacks on infrastructure, we gave strong warnings. They were forced to back down from what they called a 48-hour deadline, and now they have given a larger, longer-term deadline. This was primarily due to the firmness of our armed forces, the strong stance taken by the armed forces, and the warnings issued through media and diplomatic channels to the other side that if they enter this war, it may not have an end and will bring a disaster to the entire region, which is not in anyone's interest. The exchange of messages through friendly countries or through various individuals. This is neither called talks nor negotiations. It has existed, and ideas have been put forward. Now, I saw that in 1 or 2 posts, they called it something like 15 articles or such things, presenting these in the form of various ideas, all of which have been conveyed to the highest authorities in the country, and if a position need to be taken, it will definitely be determined. Our policy at the moment is to continue resistance, to continue defending the country. We have no plans for negotiations, and no negotiations have taken place until now. This war is neither Iran's nor America's war. It is Israel's war. It was Israel that supposedly dragged America into this war, and the people of America and the region are paying the price. In my opinion, the positions of Europeans are very much worth studying on this matter. They all claimed and still claim to be against this war, against a continuation of this war. But in practice, they haven't been willing to condemn the invasion and the aggressor. They have shown that Europe is really no longer a major player in the international arena. Peace through power, through force. What does this mean? It means that I will achieve the peace I want through force. It means that force is dominant, and this is another expression of the law of the jungle. Whoever has more force will impose a peace that they think is good for them, and in reality, they are taking the world in a direction where all countries will conclude that they must only have force and power, or else they will be trampled upon. The enemy that was seeking our unconditional surrender is now talking about negotiations, requesting negotiations, and mobilizing its highest-ranking officials to come and negotiate with the Islamic Republic. This means accepting defeat.